Bitcoin had a very clear rejection from the resistance. What is going to happen next? Are we going to see lower levels? And what needs to happen for Bitcoin in order to get a little bit more confidence, a little bit more bullishness expressed in the price? Guys, we are also going to have a look at a very specific chart which is showing the money supply, and I'm going to show you exactly why this chart can tell us exactly what is on a macro perspective happening with Bitcoin right now. And there is a 2 billion Bitcoin option expiry today, which I also want to have a small talk about. So guys, let's jump straight into it. And guys, my apologies for my voice. I'm a little bit sick at the moment, but I still want to be here for you guys creating content. So pardon me for if my voice is a little bit less pleasant to listen to in today's video. Bitcoin so far had a very clear rejection from the resistance that we have been talking about in yesterday's video. If Bitcoin can reclaim this level, 29.7k, things are turning back bullish. But as long as we are trading below this level, things are actually looking a little bit bearish in the immediate short-term time frame. But that doesn't mean that in the broader scheme of things look bearish too. Because I have a chart I will show you today which actually shows the opposite. So let's quickly go over what's going on with Bitcoin. And then we're going to have a look at all these other specific data points. So right now, when we bring out the EMA ribbon on the 4-hour time frame, this has been such a clear level of resistance. As you can see right here, we touched it, we got rejected. Right here, we touched it, we got rejected. Right now, we touched it again and we got rejected. And we are seeing the opposite thing with the stablecoin dominance. The stablecoin dominance should be the opposite thing as Bitcoin, as there is an inverse correlation. The higher the stablecoin dominance, the more liquidity in the crypto markets that will be in stablecoins, which means less liquidity can be in Bitcoin, which means the price cannot grow. We need liquidity to grow, right? So what we can see right here is that this chart actually is holding still quite bullish. We had a bullish divergence right here with a lower low in the price, but higher lows in the relative strength index and other momentum indicators. We've talked about this early on the channel. Then we broke above the 4-hour EMA ribbon, which was a very bullish and strong sign from this chart. Also, we broke above this declining resistance, which was already an early indicator that we are going to see most likely a further correction with Bitcoin unless we are rolling over. We got fooled almost a couple of times. Like here it looked like in this moment it rolled over, but in the end we just kept on holding that 4-hour EMA ribbon, which we are still doing right now. And if we were to go to a daily time frame and I just zoom nicely out on this chart, then the crazy thing is, guys, that in the end it also really makes sense, because the level that we have been testing is such a macro level. I mean, this is a rising channel starting from 2019. So the previous bull market, we have also been trading within this channel. But of course, that in the bull market, we would have seen these declines. So for Bitcoin, basically right now, to enter a bull market or to really go into that acceleration phase, we really need to break the support. Because if we continue to trade within this pattern, that would mean that sooner or later we will go to the resistance. And once this is going up, it is impossible for Bitcoin to be in a bull market. So we really have to break this chart sooner or later to the downside. And maybe we can do something like this, that we have some form of a wedge formation right here. So when we break that resistance to the upside, this is maybe a moment that you really want to hedge in stable coins, that you don't want to be positioned in crypto or Bitcoin at all. And that might be an early signal that we are going to see a further correction into 2023. It is still, everything is still on the tables, right? I would really hope for this chart to sooner or later break down, because once this is breaking down, it shows us that a 4-year uptrend structure in the stable coins has been lost, and that we can see massive liquidity flowing to Bitcoin. So very interesting to see that. Once that is happening, guys, I will share that right here on the channel. Make sure, if you want to get notified whenever that information comes out, to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Then we can have a look at the 60-day cycle as well. If we go to whaleportal.com, let me have a look at whaleportal.com. and we go to data and we click on Bitcoin cycles, then it will bring us to this page where we can basically exactly see where Bitcoin is in the cycle. So, for example, in the 4-year cycle, we are maybe on 20-30%, maybe even 15%. On the 16-year cycle, we are already quite late in the cycle, so we are approaching the red zone right here. And in the 60-day cycle, which is more for the shorter term time frame, we are on day 43, which means that we have roughly 15 to 20 days left to set the new cycle low. And yeah, big question, of course, where that cycle low is going to be. I think looking at the chart right now, it will be lower than from the levels that we are trading right now. Most important levels are going to be the FIB levels. So right now you can see also that we are bouncing from the 38.20% at 28,950. I think likely that we are going to lose this level sooner or later in the short-term time frame during the course of going to the next 60-day cycle low. The next low is at 28.1k, and the golden ratio is at 61.80% at 27,309. So these are the levels that I'm watching in the short-term time frame to the downside. If you want to become bullish on Bitcoin, it has to reclaim, in my opinion, 29,700. Okay, guys. Now I'm going to bring you to the following chart, which is very, very interesting. And this is the money to supply. And what we have been seeing, guys, is that, of course, this chart has been increasing since we have money in existence, basically. This also shows the reason of inflation, because the supply of the money, the circulating money, is increasing. That brings inflation, right? This is basically the reason, one of the biggest reasons that the stock markets and the housing prices are increasing. I would argue even that this is the biggest reason out there, but I would also argue that this is the biggest reason that Bitcoin's price is rising. Why? Because Bitcoin is a fight against this. You can call it criminal behavior or whatever you want to call it, but unethical behavior by governments, right? Like increasing the money supply, which makes that everyone who's using that money has a lesser value because there is a higher circulating supply, basically stealing from the citizens, right? So how that works, very basic terms, a basic explanation is, let's say I have $1,000 on my bank account, and in total there is $10,000 circulating in the economy. That means I own 10% of that economy, right? Which is actually quite a lot. But then when the government would suddenly like print another $90,000, which means that the circulating supply goes from 10,000 to 100,000, then my 1,000 is suddenly 1% of the economy. Right, so I'm losing like 90% of my buying power, while I actually haven't spent, right? And that is the thing, because when the money supply increases, the money that people are holding has a lesser value, which kind of sort of theft. Right? Because you work hard for your money, you want to save it, and then while you're saving it, it's losing value. Just because others are printing it and spending it. So the crazy thing is, when we bring this chart on top of the Bitcoin chart, guys, we can see that, of course, the money supply increase, Bitcoin's chart increase, but also very clearly right here, there's a small delay in there, as you can see. The moment the money supply shrinks, Bitcoin is in a bear market, and that's very logical, because if the money supply doesn't get inflated anymore, then there is less use for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a flight. Bitcoin only has 21 million tokens. That cannot be newly created Bitcoins more than 21 million, right? So that's why we all in Bitcoin, because we want to protect ourselves against these policies, against inflation, against the devaluation of the national currency. So once this is rolling over, it really makes sense that people start to panic. There is a contraction in the money supply, which basically means there's less money on the streets, less people will speculate, there's less confidence in assets like Bitcoin and stock markets and so on, because there is just less appetite for risk because the money supply is decreasing. And right now what we can see, and this is actually quite bullish for Bitcoin, because it will make the use case again more valuable, is that the money supply is turning around right here. We are seeing a bounce. We are also seeing that right here in the Federal Reserve website. We are seeing that bounce. Now already 2 months in a row, we are seeing the money supply back increasing, which eventually will drive more liquidity to Bitcoin as well. Definitely, guys. So guys, today is Friday and we are going to see a $2 billion in Bitcoin options expire today. And what does that mean? Well, actually it firstly means that most of the people who are putting these options, they were quite optimistic, excessively optimistic. They were hinting for Bitcoin to be at $31,000 right now, which we are not. Most of these contracts will expire today, and normally that can bring some volatility, right? We do enter the weekend, so take that in mind as well. Weekend price action is often not so important. But if we have a look at previous times that we had this option expiry, so right here we had kind of a dump the days ahead, followed by a massive rally. Here we also got a dump followed by a rally. On this expiry we actually directly had a big rally. The last expiry wasn't that volatile. We did got a small rally afterwards, followed by a dump. But that also might be possible because we had a massive rally before, right? We already seen massive volatility before that expiration. So that's just something to take in mind. So, yeah, guys. That is basically my analysis for today's video. It's pretty clear. Bitcoin is looking bearish until the next 60-day cycle low, or until we reclaim 29,700. That would be bullish, but so far we have a clear retest, which we talked about in yesterday's video as well. I'm sorry for my voice today, guys. I'm a little bit sick and I'm also going to move, so I have a lot of stuff on my plate, but I still wanted to be here for you guys, make this video, provide you with valuable information on the markets, with my opinion, what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin, what's happening in the markets, and so on. Guys, if you can appreciate that, make sure to leave a thumbs up, make sure to drop a comment. That's very much appreciated. That was it also for today's video. I want to wish every single one of you a beautiful day today. I want to thank every single one of you for watching this video. And yeah, guys, I hope to see every single one of you in the next one. Bye bye.